Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome to the Lady Walker Show. I am Lady Walker, and beloved, we have another Jim Dandy of a show in store for you. My guest is a person of interest. He is a youth minister as well as a representative of Woodman Life Insurance Company, and he does a whole lot more other things, and you will get a chance to find out who this interesting person is. So, beloved, without further ado, welcome to the show, Minister Jeremy Graham. Welcome, Minister Jeremy Graham.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here today.
Well, I am glad that we get a chance to sup a little tea together.
Yes, ma'am.
And to find out who you are. Okay, now first tell me, I know you're not originally from Mississippi,
That's right.
but you are originally from
New Orleans, Louisiana.
New Orleans, Louisiana.
Yes, ma'am.
So how did you get way down here? Look,
Well,
down here, look, 2 or 3 hours.
Never in a million years I would have believed that we would have ended up here in Mississippi. Hurricane Katrina hit in August 11 years ago, and we evacuated and we ended up here in Mississippi. And at that time, Greater Bethlehem Temple Church on Robinson Road, they had some houses, and they allowed us to stay in the houses on West Haven on their
That
ranch
was
property.
good.
Yeah, so it gave
But
us a
when you
place to
say
stay.
we, that's your parents?
I came
your
up with my
brother?
mother and my baby brother.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And we came up here and we packed a couple days worth of clothes because we thought we were going to go right back home. But after we found out about the catastrophe that went back on in New Orleans, we knew that we wasn't going back anytime soon.
Yeah.
So that's how we ended up here in Jackson.
Did y'all get a chance to see when Katrina hit and the property was destroyed?
It's a funny story. We stayed the Sunday of. I was looking at the news, and I remember the guy on the news, he was saying, y'all need to leave, y'all need to evacuate. It was a beautiful day outside, the sun was shining, and then they made it a mandatory evacuation. So we got in the car, and it took several hours for us to get just to the location because everybody was trying to leave at the same time. Well, we got to a hotel. I believe we were somewhere in Alabama because we didn't know where we were going in the beginning. But when we got to Alabama, we turned on CNN, and I remember seeing Anderson Cooper. He was down in the French Quarter, and the wind was blowing him. And then they started showing different parts of the city, from Slidell, Lacombe, New Orleans, and we realized that this was a major storm.
Oh.
And that's when reality, I think, set in. And it made us realize that we wasn't going home anytime soon.
Oh,
So
wow.
we were going to Jackson, Mississippi, and that's how we ended up here.
But okay, now, you could have went other places. Your mom could have went other places, but since Jackson probably was the closest.
Well, the church that I was attending at the time, they had a relationship with the pastor that was here.
Oh, okay.
And
good.
he made a phone call, and they said, man, come to Jackson. And he made that decision. We wasn't even going to leave. We were going to try to ride the storm out. Thank God we left the same day. But we were going to try to ride the storm out. And we had a pastor at that time that made a real good decision and a decision for the rest of the church so we can move forward and go where we needed to go.
Okay, now, since leaving, you've been here 11 years.
11 years now.
And from New Orleans, Louisiana, you're in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yes, ma'am.
So how has life been since moving here to Jackson, Mississippi?
It's been very unique. It's been a trying experience. And when I moved here, I was 17 years old. All I had was a GED. I never finished high school. I got kicked out of high school in the 10th grade. I was expelled. And then I went to alternative school, and I ended up dropping out of alternative school because I felt like I didn't need to be in there.
Oh, you can't drop out of alternative school.
Well, I was at the age
okay.
17.
Okay.
And on the way out the door, I remember looking at my mom that morning, and I told her, I said, Mom, I'm going to drop out of school today. You know, she yelled at me and was like, boy, you better not drop out. And I signed myself out of school that day, and she enrolled me into a GED program.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
How long
so
did it take to
It didn't take
complete
long.
that?
I felt like I was pretty smart. I just didn't enjoy school at the time. It probably took me about 3 weeks to get my GED.
Really? That
Yeah.
is great.
Yep.
I think they have some GED programs here. I know one day I was out shopping and this guy was out in the car and he was sort of recruiting as
Right.
if you know of anybody who wants to get their GED, give them this number.
Right.
I think he was recruiting from Hines Community College.
They do have a program out there, and they'll actually help. They help people sometimes even with transportation. I went to Hines Community College.
Did you?
And yeah, it was a big part of my life, and that was the first college experience I ever had, and I got in the door with that GED, and I became an advocate for a lot of the young people there that were trying to get GEDs. I even did a GED graduation ceremony. After I graduated from Hines, I came back to do the GED ceremony. Yes, ma'am, in 2010.
2010,
yes,
and that's
ma'am.
when you graduated
Yep,
from?
December 2010. The very next semester afterwards, I came back and I was the commencement speaker for the graduation ceremony for the GED students.
What?
Yeah, so it completely turned around. I told them a little bit of my story. They knew my past. When I got to Hines Community College the first time, I sat out in the courtyard all day, talked to girls. You know, and I didn't do anything concerning education. The only class I probably passed was Western Civilization. You know, my GPA
Wait a
was so
minute,
low.
during the whole semester?
I failed 2 semesters back to back. And I got a letter in the mail that said, Mr. Graham, you did not meet the requirements of Hines Community College, so you were suspended until further notice. So I lost my financial aid. I lost a whole year of education down the drain.
All because you didn't take it serious when you
Didn't
first
take
went.
it serious at all. I failed every class. I was sitting in my class.
But why? I mean, with you being smart, why you think you
Because
failed?
I just didn't have the
studying?
push. I didn't see the purpose in it at that time. I was young. I was very immature. I was 18 years old. Keep in mind, I didn't have 10th, 11th, and 12th grade.
Oh,
all I had was
okay.
9th grade education. So I didn't take it seriously the first time. And then, but after I set out that year, it was a lot of things that transpired in between that year. But I came back with a different mindset and a mentality to say, hey, I want to get in here. I'm going to get to my books. And I came in the first semester back, made a 3.2. Then I made a 3.5. Then another one, I got on the dean's list. I've been nominated Who's Who's, and I never looked back after that.
Really? You meant
ma'am.
business when you went back, huh?
Oh yeah, it was
like
all
I goofed
business.
off those,
Yeah, I didn't want to
know.
waste any more time. None. At all. I wasted a whole year that I could have been
whole year.
pursuing. Those same girls that I was trying to talk to, I watched them go on and graduate.
Did
and I was at
you?
home. You know?
Oh, and then you ended up getting a job during the time you were out?
Yeah, well, I was working at Popeye's Chicken on Robinson Road for $6.25 an hour.
Oh,
Not
really?
far.
$6.25 an hour.
Yes. And as I was throwing that chicken in the grease and cleaning up every day, I'm like, life got to have more than this. You know, I was ready to make a change, and I got tired of it, and I went back with a new mentality.
I like that what you just said. I was ready to make a change.
I was ready to make a change.
When you realized what you were doing, you know, $6.25 an hour. And all
Definitely, you got to know when enough is enough. You get tired. I was on a downward spiral. My life wasn't progressing. I didn't feel like I had any purpose at that
Really?
time. But when I came back, it was a brand new mindset, and somebody offered me a job to work in the computer labs in the English department, and I worked there for I want to say it was probably the same $6.25 an hour. They would let me work 2 hours a day.
2
And
hours a day?
2 hours a day, and I worked 2 hours a day, and but that 2 hours gave me an opportunity to do my homework every day
Right.
for 2 hours. So I didn't want to just go home and put it to the side. I gave it focus, and I think that was a large part of the reason I was able to do so well the second go round.
Now, something you said off camera, but it's so interesting. You said when you came down to Mississippi, you had dreads.
Yeah, I had dreads. That was a New Orleans thing. Most of us grew out dreadlocks, and it identified who was from New Orleans and who wasn't from New Orleans at the time. And when I first moved here, I was hanging out at an apartment complex on Dixon Road in West Jackson, and I was with a group of other guys from New Orleans. And at that time, Frank Melton was the mayor.
Well, hold that, and then I want you to come back and continue with this story, but then I want you to get into how you became a youth minister.
Oh, definitely. Well.
All right. Beloved, we will be right back. Welcome back, beloved. My guest is Minister Jeremy Graham. Okay, before we went on break, you were talking about, what was that?
Well,
No, I said, what was that? I wanted you to, but we've been on break, so we've been talking about some other things.
right. So definitely got here from New Orleans. I had the dreadlocks, the baggy clothes. At that time, it was 2006. Mayor Frank Melton was the mayor, and I was just hanging out with the wrong crowd of people, wrong place, wrong time. And we were breaking the curfew law that he put in place. And police officers jumped out, undercover cops, and unmarked vehicles, and they told us, you know, they gave us some options. Y'all need to break up, go home, yada, yada, yada. So I started talking back to the officer. I didn't know I was going to be charged for it later on. I was young. I wasn't very educated, and I made a dumb decision. And because of it, it cost me a little time and some money. They arrested me and put me in jail.
Wow.
And I had to stand before the judge, and I pled guilty. I didn't even know I had a chance to plead not guilty or anything else, but I pled guilty to it. And the judge gave me 90 days and $800 fine.
90 days. How was it being locked up for 90 days?
Well, the good news about that was I didn't have to go the whole 90 days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, simply because it was overpopulated in Raymond. There was a lot of people going to jail at the time.
Overpopulated.
It was very overpopulated. And I remember they released me, and I went on home. But I still had to pay that $800.
Yeah, that is something. So I guess it's like, okay, I'm going to keep my mouth somewhat closed next time.
Right. Yeah, so it was definitely a lesson learned. I hadn't had any other run-ins with the police since then.
Now, something you said earlier before we went on break, and you said you had a new mindset.
Different mindset.
I like that. And that makes a lot of difference when you are changing your life for the better.
Definitely.
A new mindset. And that new mindset led you into where you are today. As I said before, you are a youth minister. How did that happen?
Well, I went back to that same community the day I got arrested. And after I got out of jail, I went back to that same community. And the guy that saw me get arrested, I was just happened to be standing outside on the corner, and he pulled up in the car and he rolled down his window and he invited me over to his house. And I didn't know him very well. I knew he was in the ministry, but I knew he was respected in the community. And he invited me into his house, and I walked in, and he whispered something in his wife's ear, and I could tell she was a little nervous about me being in their house at the time. And he said, "What size are you?" And I was real small at the time. And,
really?
Very small. I was 170-something pounds.
Oh,
I've been eating good since then.
Oh, okay.
But, so I was real small, and he went into his closet, and he pulled out a navy blue suit, and he pulled out a black suit and a white shirt, and he told me to try it on. And I put those two suits on, and he stood me in the mirror in his bathroom. He said, "Son, that's the image you need to be looking for."
Wow.
And I teared up because I had never had anybody to do something. It was just a random act of kindness. And he said, "We considering starting a church here in Jackson. And if you're interested," he didn't try to force me to come. He said, "If you're interested, you ought to just come and check it out." And I remember I would still come. I would have a hoodie on, and I would sit in the back of the church, big old clothes and everything like that. Still wasn't interested, but
you did go. But
I went. That was my step. He threw a lifeline, and I grabbed the rope. And with that one lifeline, it changed my entire life, because every Saturday, instead of me going out to the clubs and looking for something to do, I would go clean the church. I would clean the toilets. I would vacuum the floors. I would vacuum pews. And I did that every day for years. And eventually, man, it just got a hold of me, and it changed my entire life. And I'm still grateful to that guy for that opportunity, because he threw a lifeline to me, and I never looked back after that.
That is something because you could have rejected that lifeline.
Definitely.
And went in a totally different direction where you probably didn't need to be.
Yes.
But you took that lifeline that was thrown to you.
I took the lifeline. I got filled with God's Spirit. I fell in love with Him, and I just started learning more about God. And I grew up in church, but I never had a personal relationship. I had churchianity. Where we knew when to say amen.
That's so interesting, because I guess I can say the same thing for me when I was coming up. We had to go. My daddy made sure of that.
Definitely.
We had to join church, and we got water baptized and all of that, and we had to go.
Right.
But it wasn't until I got grown where all of that changed for the better.
And it was a real transformation for myself. I knew the word, but I didn't have a personal encounter, and it wasn't until I had that personal encounter where my mind was completely really changed.
Oh.
And for that, I'm grateful. And I've been in church ever since. I served that man of God for 8 years, and faithfully. If he preached, I was with him. If he traveled, I was with him. If his shoes weren't tied, I would tie his shoes.
Really?
And I made sure that God really just got a hold of me. And I followed him 8 years faithfully, and God has done some amazing things in my life because of it.
And so at that point, you stopped hanging out with some of the people that...
I turned my cell phone off.
Yeah.
I turned my cell phone off, and I went missing for about 2 years. And nobody couldn't contact me. I didn't have any social media at that time. And I just really wanted to be free. I didn't even want to be tempted. There were nights that I wanted to go out to the clubs, and I would be by my pastor's house at the time, and they would take my keys. And I'd fall asleep. I would fall asleep on the couch. It'd be 4 o'clock in the morning. They'd give my keys back after all the clubs were closed. And they would do things like that for me. So they made sure I stayed out of the streets and that I wasn't going back to the world.
Now, that really took some effort on their parts to be able to do that for you.
Definitely. They made the ultimate sacrifice with me. And I look at those people almost like my biological parents because they took so much of their time and sacrifice to sow into my life and to make that sacrifice.
That
and
is
and
so
for that,
good.
I'm
It's
forever
good to
grateful.
hear this story.
Definitely.
Because there are so many young people out there who can benefit from what you are saying, even older people, you know, regardless
ma'am.
of the age. But it's just good to know that these people, this pastor and his wife, they made a very big difference.
They
in
opened
your
their home
life.
up to me. If I was hungry, they cooked. If I needed clothes, he would take me to Belk and buy me church clothes. He's the reason he taught me how to dress.
Did
you know,
he?
Yeah, taught me how to study, taught me how to pray. You know, everything that God had given him, he used the tools.
So
And
now you are giving back to the community.
that's what I'm doing now because somebody threw that lifeline to me several years ago. I'm trying to throw that lifeline back to other people in my community. And I've done it for a few. It hadn't turned out the same way because you really have to want to take that lifeline and pull yourself out. But I'm not going to stop trying to help the community. And that's really what I like to do, and I enjoy it.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, what we are going to do, we are coming up on a break. Now, we are going to come back and let you talk about you being a representative of, what is it, Woodman Life.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're going to tell us about what that is and on how you have been blessed to become a part of that particular business.
Yes, ma'am.
And then it's about that life insurance. And I guess that's part of it as well. We certainly want to hear about that because, again, there are so many people who do not partake in that.
That's right.
And then when the time comes, you know.
No money,
No
no
money.
fun.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a bad place to be in.
Exactly. Okay, we are going to take a break and come back and we're going to let you talk about that aspect of your business life.
All right.
All right, beloved, we are going to take a break and we will be right back. Welcome back, beloved. My guest, once again, is Minister Jeremy Graham. Okie doke. Now let's go into your other business that you have.
Okay, well, right now, I work for Woodman Life. We are a not-for-profit life insurance company. And what we do is every client that we have here in the Mississippi area, in the southern region, anytime they make a payment on their life insurance premium, we allocate a certain amount to go back to the community. So sometimes,
okay, that's good.
Yes, sometimes we have these meetings every Tuesday, once a month, and we meet together and we try to determine what cause that we want to help in the community. So we may donate book bags or purchase book bags. We may donate it to a food pantry or something like that. So we like to give back in our community. It's been a great company to work for.
How long have you been there?
I just started with them. It's been a little bit over a year. I was with Primerica before I joined Woodman Life, and I enjoy this company because it wasn't just about selling insurance to people. It was about trying to go out and help the community as well. Just recently, 2 weeks ago, we went to Crosby, Mississippi, and you know we had that big flood that just happened here in Baton Rouge and some of the Mississippi areas, and there were 300 people that we fed in the community, and we gave out over $3,000, yes,
Wow.
in gift cards and Walmart gift cards to the community, and we stayed there and we fed those people, and it brought a great joy because I remember after Hurricane Katrina, when Red Cross had to feed us, so I was looking forward to going out there to make sure that those people were taken care of. And when we drove to the community, we saw that the water it came up so high, and they were not allowed to have flood insurance in that area. So it was nothing that they can do. So we just wanted to give back and help the best way that we knew how.
Wow. Now that is interesting that they were not allowed to have flood insurance in that area. So
Right.
what happens
Some
if you're not
areas-
able to have?
You just have to fit the bill because some areas, the insurance companies, they understand that it's high risk.
Oh, okay.
And they say, well, we know it's going to flood here. So we don't want to take that responsibility. And those people still have a decision to make if they're going to live in the community or not. And most of them decided to stay there. It's a small town, 300-something people live in their population.
really?
Small town. You could drive through and miss it. But the fact that they were
wait, back up. 300 and something people population?
That's the population. I was shocked. I thought we were going to a major city, and I never even heard of Crosby. And we got there. I think we probably fed everybody in the town. Everybody in the town. And it was a great feeling.
Wow, I'm pretty sure it is. Now, with Woodman Life, what does it encompass? Life insurance?
We do life insurance. We do health insurance. We do annuities for people that don't have retirement set up. And part of the reason I got into this business is because in our community, and in Jackson and in different places, you see people pass away all the time, and they don't have the proper tools in place, or they don't have the finances in place to bury them, or at least leave some money for the next generation. And I said, well, this is one way that I can help the community, because one thing is guaranteed for all of us: we're all gonna die.
Exactly, and there are quite many of us who don't want to prepare.
That's right.
They think that if I prepare, I'm going to die.
Right.
You're going to die eventually, but at least you don't want to leave that financial
burden on the family
your
members.
family
And
to try to raise that money, because
Right.
a lot of people, well, I can't say a lot, but I know there are people who will go on to what's this? GoFundMe.
GoFundMe.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the new thing now.
Yeah, evidently.
Yeah, GoFundMe is basically saying, if something happens to me, y'all pay for it.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit selfish in a sense, because oftentimes you could pay $9, $12, $13 a month and have insurance in place, and your family could turn around and get $25,000, $30,000,
Yes,
$40,000,
exactly.
$100,000. And the average funeral right now costs anywhere from between 10 and 12. If you want to have a really good one, you can spend $20,000 easily.
Wow.
But some of the things that I hear in the community, especially in our community, I hear, well, I don't want to get insurance because that's going to jinx me. Or you probably heard it before. I don't want to get insurance because I ain't trying to make my family rich.
I heard, what crap is that?
Because
That
we
is
don't want to
crap.
we're the only group of people that don't pass down wealth to the next
I
generation.
know.
The only group of people that don't pass down wealth to the next generation. And insurance is one of the best ways to pass something down and give your family something to make sure
Right.
that they're taken care of and covered properly. If I was to die today or tomorrow, my wife wouldn't have to worry about anything. She could put me in the ground, and whoever she married, they'll be good.
Yeah.
But I could lay down at night and put my head on the pillow knowing that, hey, I won't ever leave her in a financial strain.
And you know what? And I know it's not really expensive. I guess it depends on, whatever you
your
get.
age, a few things that can contribute to it. If you're a smoker or not smoker, health is an important thing. A lot of times people wait till their health is deteriorating when they try to get health insurance or life insurance. At that point, the premiums skyrocket, because the companies understand that, hey, it's going to be more of a liability on us for us to take you on. And what happens is, so you have to pay more than a regular person would have to pay. So if you got high cholesterol, diabetes, or even obesity, it can cost you more in the end. It definitely does.
But again, life insurance is important.
It's very
I
important.
know there are burial insurance out there as well.
Right.
But then you got life insurance. You got various things out there.
Yeah, the burial in this companies, I support anybody that's trying to make sure that when I leave here or when they leave here, they're in a better position. Burial insurance policies, they sell like $5,000, $10,000 policies. That's okay if you want to just get put in the ground.
Right.
But me, I'm trying to leave something for my
Exactly.
children and the children's children, so we can pass down the economic wealth for the next generation. And I think that's more important. And that's one thing that we have to focus on in our communities. We have to know that we need to be in a position and be educated financially to say, hey, if we ever want to pull our generation up out of a rut or out of a ditch economically, we need to make sure that we put proper things in place so we don't live from Friday to Friday,
Right.
paycheck to paycheck. And I believe that one day we'll probably be able to get there, but we have to be educated in that area in order for us to move into that direction.
So y'all do life insurance, and you said health insurance.
We do health insurance. Open enrollment, I believe, comes up in November the 1st. I'm praying hopefully we'll have our office already open in Jackson by the time open enrollment shows up. So we want to make sure that we get people with health insurance as well. A lot of people file bankruptcy and they go into economic debt because of medical expenses, because they walked into a hospital, found out that they had something and they were not covered with the insurance. Well, the doctor still had to perform the procedure, but you get a $40,000 bill in the mail. So what do? Well, we try to prevent that from happening as well. We want to make sure that people have the proper things in place so that doesn't ever have to happen to their family.
Okay.
That's a big burden.
It really is.
Yeah,
it really
definitely.
is. And you also make mention of annuity.
We
or
do
whatever.
annuities. So for our barbers that are out there, people that don't have a 401k that's being put to the side, people that they may not have the discipline to save any money, what we do is we offer annuities, investment tools, so they can put money up, $50 a month, $20 a month, $100 a month,
Oh,
so they can
okay.
save some money and get a
Right.
better interest rate than the banks. So typically we could give you a 1% or 1.5 interest rate on your money. And all we do is expect you to leave it in there, put something in. We typically take it out once a month out of a bank draft, and you can just put it in your account. And when you 59 and a half, 60, 65, and you're ready to retire, you know your money's going to be there. It's going to be safe, and you'll be able to retire peacefully, not, you know, trying to figure out what you're going to do.
Exactly. Well, that sounds pretty good. We are going to come back and wrap it up.
All right.
And then you
looking
can
forward.
give out any contact information just in case someone in the audience is, you know, wants to get in touch with you about the services.
Yes, ma'am.
All righty, beloved, we will be right back. Welcome back, beloved. Okie doke. Yes, this is an okie doke moment because we are getting ready to wrap it up. And Minister Jeremy Graham is going to give out any contact information that you want to give out. So just in case anyone would like to get in touch with you concerning life insurance, health insurance, annuities, or even you go out and speak, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
If anybody was ever looking for public speaking or anything of that nature, I just like to try to come and encourage people and let people know, hey, you don't have to let your past dictate your future.
All right.
You know, so, but if anybody's looking for my contact information, it's 601-983-6263. That's 601-983-6263. I'll be happy to help. I'm available at all times. You could contact me at any time. That's my personal cell phone number. And that's 601-983-6263.
All right, so you go, once again, you go out and you speak, you encourage, you motivate.
I do whatever I feel like God is calling me to do. I just want to I want to use everything that's in me. I'm going to pour out everything that He's put in me.
Well, great, great, great.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, Minister Jeremy Graham, it has been a thrill to sit here and sup a little tea with you, and hopefully you'll be back and
yes, ma'am,
just educate us upon what you're doing and what you are doing in the community and what you are doing just with life in general.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I want to say thanks for having me. And I appreciate it. I love your spirit.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So thanks for having me.
All right, you are much obliged. Beloved, thanks a trip for tuning in, and I, your BFF, will see you next time on The Lady Walker Show. Ta-ta.